Hi everybody, welcome to class, and this is our first session, and I'm going to be talking about, to begin with, the name of the course. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to look at it critically, and that's what I want you to do as well, to look at everything critically. Always ask why, right? So here, the course is called Islamic Civilization. And the question is, why do we call it Islamic civilization? Do we call, bear with me, my friends, because I have not worked with this for a while now, and it's going to be taking me a little time to get used to it again. So please bear with me. Okay, so what is Islamic civilization, and why do we call it Islamic? Right? Do we have anything called the Christian civilization, for instance? Right? I ask you. I would like you to answer that for yourself, right? Do we have a Christian civilization? No, of course, we never speak about Christian civilization as Christian civilization. What do we call it? We call it Western civilization. Nowadays, we have gotten used to calling it world civilization, but still, there is this concept of Western civilization that has stuck with us, right? So the question is, okay, Western. When you mean when you talk about Western, you mean Western Europe, right? And you mean the United States and Canada and right the, basically that's what covers Western, right? Europe, Americas, and yeah, that's basically it, right? And of course, all of the civilizations, everything in Europe is Christian as well, right? So why don't we call a European civilization a Christian civilization, right? Why don't we call Western civilization a Christian civilization? There is a reason that we call it Islamic civilization, and that reason is totally an irresponsible reasoning, and it's a non justifiable sort of coinage, right? Because as we come to it and we look at it, we'll see that Islamic civilization, what they call Islamic civilization, in any part of the quote-unquote Muslim world, right? I don't like in any of this Islamic Muslim epithets that we give to everything, right? It's as if Islam is uh, everything that there is with these regions in which it developed. Whereas identity, as we will come to it, identity takes many shapes, and religion is just one of these identities. And once we get to the notion of, the golden age, so to speak, again in quotes, golden age of Islamic civilization, we'll see what kind of civilization we're talking about, and could it be called Islamic at all, right? So now the question is, where did Islamic civilization take place to begin with, right? Where did it take place? And we say, okay, but did it take place in something called Middle East, or some place called Near East? Well, we're going to get to what is Middle East and what is Near East also, right? So what is Middle East? I want you to just think about it. I mean, stop the video, think about it, and remember what you put in Middle East, right? Do you put Egypt in Middle East? Do you put Morocco in the Middle East? Do you put Ethiopia in the Middle East or the Sudan in the Middle East, right? Do you put Afghanistan, Tajikistan, India, the parts that are Muslim, Pakistan, right, and China even, right? Do you sort of call Islamic civilization also in the northwestern parts of China where you have a lot of Muslims, right? So the correct answer is that, well, yeah, while we don't consider Morocco the Middle East or Afghanistan the Middle East or India the Middle East, right? Islamic civilization took place in all of these places. Yeah, a civilization grew in all of these places, right? To what extent was it Muslim? That is a whole different story. And what kind of Islam there was, that's a whole kind of other kind of story, right? Okay, now in these various regions where civilization took place and so-called Islamic civilization took place, right? There are all, of course, all commonality, right? The people in these worlds are Muslim, of course, right? I mean, but not the majority, right? There is substantial Christian community, substantial Jewish communities. You know, when you go to India, Hindu communities, and you know, of course, in China, Buddhist communities, right? There is that nuisance, so to speak, in the concept of Islamic civilization. So I would rather really not think about Islamic civilization, right? I would rather think about some other epithet, right? And in this course, one of the things that I want you to think about, right, is what kind of other sort of adjective do yeah, do we can we use, right? Right. So to describe this civilization, right? What do we use to describe this civilization? So Islamic is very problematic. This notion is very problematic, and the idea is an essentialist idea, right? It's an essentialist idea. So what do we mean by an essentialist idea? It is an idea that reduces everything into one concept, right? So that it reduces all the different aspects of the civilizational sort of currents of these regions, right? It boils them down to this epithet of Islamic, which is wrong, of course, right? Quite wrong. We're going to talk about this in the course of this course, right? So let's move on, right? So the question is, so okay, this Islamic civilization, now there is another question. You know, as we said, where does it take place? If you ask this question from the, you know, John and Jane on the street, right? But if they say, okay, suppose there is an Islamic civilization, where did it take place, right? I bet you, yeah, just, you know, just ask your parents or just ask your friends, right? Say, okay, where did Islamic civilization take place, right? I bet you almost everything that they're going to say in the Middle East, right? So then you ask them, so, but where is the Middle East, right? Where is Middle East and where is Near East, right? So I want us now to look at the globe, right? I want us to go on the I want us to go on the Google Earth, and please bear with me while I present, while I look at um, the Google. I mean Google Earth. I have to find my Google Earth, and just bear with me, okay, my friends.